Good day everyone. So for this video, we are going to learn about loan receivable. So what is a loan receivable? A loan receivable is a financial asset arising from a loan granted by a bank or other financial institution to a borrower or client. The term of the loan may be short-term, but in most cases, the repayment periods cover several years. So, loan receivable is usually found in a financial institution or bank because it is in this type of business where the ordinary course or the ordinary activities is the granting of loan to their clients. So this is different from accounts receivable, different from the notes receivable, in which case it those receivables arise from the sale of merchandise, right? But for loan receivable, this is for the bank and other financial institution, so this does not pertain to the selling of merchandise, but rather an actual loan of cash to their customers or their client. Now, just like a note receivable, loans receivable will earn interest. But although there are a little bit, or it is a little bit the same as to the computation of interest, in which you are going to multiply the interest to a certain amount, still there is a difference on how are we going to recognize the interest income. Now, let's talk first about the initial measurement of loan receivable. Now, how is a loan receivable initially measured? So, according to the standard, at initial recognition, an entity shall measure a loan receivable at fair value plus transaction costs that are directly attributable to the acquisition of the financial asset. So, that would be fair value plus directly attributable transaction cost. So what is the fair value? It is the transaction price or the amount of the loan granted. Now, what are transaction costs? So transaction costs in the case of loan receivable are those that are directly attributable to the loan receivable, and that would include direct origination costs. Direct origination costs should be included in the initial measurement of the loan receivable. However, indirect origination costs should be treated as outright expense. So take note that the initial measurement of our loan receivable is fair value plus transaction cost. That would mean our transaction price plus the direct origination cost. So that is how are we going to measure loan receivable. The amount of the transaction plus the costs that we incurred in relation to the loans receivable, which are directly attributable to it. In the case where it is indirectly attributable, then it shall be treated as outright expense. So take note of the term direct and indirect. Now, how about the subsequent measurement? So accordingly, it would still be at amortized cost. So just like in a notes receivable, we are going to measure the loans receivable at amortized cost. But under the amortized cost in the loans receivable, we are going to use the effective interest method. So as you can see here, the definition of the amortized cost is just the same with the definition that we found or we can find in the notes receivable, but okay, there is still a difference because of course this two types of receivable, namely the notes and the loans receivable, have different nature. So how would the loans receivable be recognized? And if the initial amount, okay, let's read this one first. Amortized cost, that is the amount at which the loan receivable is measured initially, minus principal repayment plus or minus the cumulative amortization of any difference between the initial amount recognized and the principal maturity amount minus the reduction for impairment or uncollectibility. So, to summarize that formula, okay, let's make a formula for that. So, wait for a moment because I cannot move my, okay, alright, okay, so subsequent measurement, I'm going to put it here. Loan receivable for its initial measurement, what was that? That would be at fair value plus transaction costs, or should I say, ano na lang, directly attributable costs, to emphasize that it is directly attributable. So that would mean that it means the transaction price plus direct origination cost. Okay, so that is the initial measurement. Now, how about the subsequent measurement? So, subsequently and accordingly, we are going to measure it at amortized cost. So, what would constitute the amortized cost? So, that would be first, initial measurement. Okay, the amount that we measured initially, initial measurement less principal repayment, and then that would be plus or minus, so add or less any cumulative amortization of any difference between the initial amount recognized in principal as principal and the maturity amount, and then of course less reduction for impairment or any uncollectibility. So that would be our amortized cost. Okay, so to determine what are this, or how are we going to determine, no, what are the initial measurement? Of course, the initial measurement would now be determined, no, the principal repayment. Now, how about for the cumulative amortization? So, here is another formula which would mean the same, pero kanilang ang formula is specific lang siya sa loans receivable. Kani mago general mago ni siya sa ato ang mga receivables, but kani ako i-present karon would be the specific one. Okay, in other words, if the initial amount recognized is lower than the principal amount, the amortization of the difference is added to the carrying amount. If the initial amount recognized is higher than the principal amount, the amortization of the difference is deducted from the carrying amount. So here it is, class. So we have two rules. So if the initial amount, or should we say the initial measurement, no, so I'm just gonna put initial amount is lower than the principal amount. Okay, so ma'am, is that different? Diba? It is not all the time that the principal amount is our initial amount. Take note that just like in the notes receivable, we have what we call the present value. So, diba, lahi ang principal amount, which is the face value. So, lahi ang principal amount kaysa sa initial measurement, which is the present value. So, if the initial measurement is less than the principal amount, Then, in order to compute the amortized cost, so that would be, or the amortization of the difference is added to the carrying amount. Okay, so still this formula, but, so, yan siya. I'm just gonna put, let's say, ano na lang, initial measurement, and then, of course, less na dyan ng principal repayment, no? But, if the initial amount is less than the principal amount, then the amortization should be added. So, add amortization. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so add amortization. Or should we say, no, the present value. Okay, less principal repayment, and then add amortization. Okay, pwede wala na lang ni siya. Okay, add amortization, and then you will get the subsequent measurement. That is the new carrying amount. But, if the initial amount is higher than the principal amount, then the amortization of the difference is deducted from the carrying amount. So, the amortization is present value. The carrying amount is present value less amortization equals the carrying amount. So, therefore, class, we will consider whether the initial amount is higher than the principal amount or lower than the principal amount for us to know whether we need to add the amortization or deduct that certain amortization. But before the examples, let us first read the definition of origination fees. So, what are origination fees? So, these fees are charged by the bank against the borrowers, okay, for the creation of the loan. So, this is not the same with the direct origination cost, ha. Direct origination cost, ang katong mga nagasto nato. Let's say, kita ang bank, kita ang entity, the bank or the financial institution nga magpautang. So, direct origination cost, ang ato ang mga nagasto para maka-avail si customer of loan. So, sa mga example, ano mga magasto nato? No, the lending activities, just like evaluating the financial condition of the borrower, or di ba kanang for example kung mag-loan mo, no, naman yung mga interviews. Okay, so your references would be contact, no, tawagan sila aron mahibaw-an ang mga financial condition, yung mga credit history, i-evaluate. Okay, so those are the direct origination costs. Now, these origination fees are the compensation for those activities. Okay, so meaning, kaning direct origination cost, no, it will be compensated by the customer in the form of origination fees. Okay, so dili ni siya kita lang magbayad, no? Yes, kita ang magbayad, pero it will be compensated. So, magbayad si customer for the origination fees. So, it is not exactly and necessarily the same ang ilahang amount. It could be that the origination fees is higher than the direct origination cost, or at some time, the direct origination cost is higher than the origination fees. Now, how are we going to present this one? The origination fees received from borrower are recognized as an earned interest income. Okay. So, diba take note, nangutang si borrower, no? Gihatagan na to siya kwarta. But, dili lang kana, no? Kaya aside sa gihatagan na to kwarta si borrower, magbayad po sila sa ato for the origination fees. So, that origination fee, sa may treatment ana niya, no? Naka-income ta. So, it should be treated as an earned interest income. Ganong unearned pa man? Because of course, interest income is earned for a certain period. for a lapse of a period. So, unearned interest income sa siya, but of course, it will be amortized over the term of the loan. Now, if the origination fees are not chargeable against the borrower, the fees are known as direct origination costs. The direct origination costs are deferred and also amortized over the term of the loan. Okay. So, kung ang origination fees treated as unearned interest income, amortized over the loan, kani po ang direct origination cost, dili siya interest income ha? No. But it shall be deferred and also amortized over the loan. That is why, when both the direct origination costs and the origination fees are present, then they shall be offset. So, i-offset nato sila. So, let's say, kung na-origination fee nga, let's say, 5,000, and then na-ay direct origination cost nga 2,000, so, di ba, take note, let's say, para ma-visualize. So, let's say, if na-ay origination fees na 5,000, and then na-ay direct origination costs nga 2,000. So, diba, dapat kining 5,000, it must be accounted for as an unearned interest income. But take note that the direct origination cost should be offset against the origination fees. Therefore, pila na lang ban ang atong i-recognize as an earned interest income. So, that would now be net of the direct origination cost, which means 3,000 pesos. Okay? So, in-net nato siya. So, saan naman po yung treatment ang unearned interest income? So, how do we treat the unearned interest income? Diba? This is to be deducted. Okay? This is to be deducted from our loans receivable. Just like the treatment of the unearned interest income in the notes receivable. I-deduct siya to get the carrying amount. So, if the origination fees exceed their direct origination cost, the difference is unearned interest income and the amortization will increase interest income. Okay. Kung mas dako ang origination fees kaysa sa direct origination cost, then that will be unearned interest income. So, kuan siya, proven na siya based sa to ang pag-compute, no? So, natay unearned interest income na 3,000. So, accordingly, it will increase interest income. So, later, I will discuss to you how will it increase the interest income. And then, how about kung pabaliktad? If the direct origination costs exceed the origination fees received, then the difference is charged to direct origination cost and the amortization will decrease interest income. So, let's say, for example, baliktad ni siya. So, let's say, kani ang direct origination cost and then kani ang origination fees. Of course, dili na siya unearned interest income kaya mas gamay naman ang origination fees. In that case, it would still be treated as a direct origination cost pero net amount na nga 3,000 pesos. Okay? Now, take note, if ang imohang net amount nga nakuha is an unearned interest income, so it will increase our interest income. But, if ang imuhang nakuha is direct origination cost, in which case mas dako ang cost kaysa sa fees, then it would decrease our interest income. Okay. So, nga naman, no? Nga naman, isa man yung makapa-increase o makapa-decrease. Anong mo increase or decrease man tungkol anong interest income? Naapa ba dahil lang interest income? Yes. Take note class, kanibitang loans receivable. Diba ang notes receivable naatay interest bearing, in which case, magbayad ta og interest. Naapod tay non-interest bearing, in which case, wala dyan interest nga mabayaran si customer, pero there is an implied interest, in which case, recognize taog unearned interest income. But here in loans receivable, it is different. Because here in loans receivable, aside sa naatay unearned interest income, naa pa jud tay additional, ang mga borrowers, naa pa jud sila additional nga bayaran nga interest. So meaning, duha di ay ang atoang source sa atong interest income. First is the interest income nga katong stated sa atoang contract, katong bayaran ni borrower, and second is the interest income that is coming from the unearned interest income here. Because take note, kaning unearned interest income diri, this came from our origination fees. So meaning, duha di ang mabayaran ng customer, no? Una, katong interest nga naka-state dito sa contract mismo, let's say 8% interest, so katong nga interest plus kaning origination fees. So, diba? Duha siya, no? So, that's why pag naay unearned interest income, mo increase pa jud ang interest income. That means, aside sa ibayad ni borrower nga interest income, plus kani pa jud ang amortization ani nga unearned interest income. Pero, if mas dako po ang direct origination cost kaysa sa origination fees, so ang ihang net amount would be treated as direct origination cost. So, mo decrease ang interest income. So, kung naay gibayaran ng interest income, let's say 10,000, so ang ma-recognize na lang ana is 70,000 because of the direct origination cost. Pero, if under interest income po, let's say ang gibayaran ni borrower is interest of 10,000 and there is an unearned interest income, so later on, mahimo na ng 13,000 ang tanan-tanan nga interest income. Okay, now let us try to answer some problems about loans receivable. So here's the first problem. What is the carrying amount of the loan on January 1, 2016? What is the interest income for 2016? And what is the carrying amount of the loan on December 31, 2016? So meaning, unsa ang initial measurement. Okay, so this loan, Apari Bank granted a loan to a borrower on January 1, 2016. So the first question is the initial measurement. The second question is the interest income for that year. And the third question is the subsequent measurement. Now, let us read the problem. Apari Bank, okay, I'm just gonna write it first. Okay, Apari Bank. Apari Bank granted a loan to a borrower on January 1, 2016. The interest rate on the loan is 10% payable annually starting December 31, 2016. The loan matures in 5 years on December 31, 2020. Okay, so take note, magbayad siya og 10% interest annually. Okay? But, aside from that, okay, here is the principal amount. We have 4 million. And then, also, diba, aside sa interest, magbayad pa dahil og origination fee received from the borrower. And on our part, the entity, the bank, we are also going to incur the direct origination cost of 61,500. The effective rate on the loan after considering the direct origination cost incurred and origination fee received is 12%. So, hala, duha ang interest nga ato ang nakitaan. So, do not be confused. Ang ilang bayaran nga interest lang is kaning 10%. Na diba, because of the origination fee, no, mo increase man ang ato ang interest. No, diba? Mo increase ang interest because of the origination fee. So, meaning, it's like, kung i-consider na itong origination fee as an interest na in the future, but of course, at first, unearned interest pa dyan na siya. So, if i-consider natin siya nga interest, okay, mahimo naman po siyang interest. So, meaning, aside sa magbayad siyang 10%, magbayad po siya ng 350,000 and all are considered interest. So, that means, kung imo ang i-total na amount, dili lang din na siya 10%. Okay, dili lang din na siya 10%. But, after considering the origination fee and the direct origination cost, ang atuwa di ay interest rate is 12%. Okay, but take note ha, wala ni siya nag-change sa fact nga magbayad, ang interest ng bayaran is 10%. 10% lang gihapon. Okay, kaning 12% after na ni siya sa adjustment using aning origination fee and direct origination cost. So, gituyo ni siya, nga naay bago nga rate ng 12%, kaya of course, masagol na maguli sila, no? Kaya, may mo naman silang mga interest income. So, kasan na lang ang pag-compute sa interest. So, that will be 12%. So, first, what is the carrying amount of the loan receivable on January 1, 2016? Simple. Just determine the principal amount and then deduct the unearned interest income. So, how are we going to compute the unearned interest income? Diba? That would be origination fee and the direct origination cost. Therefore, how are we going to answer this one? We have the principal amount. Okay, that is 4 million pesos. Okay, and then origination fee. Okay, so this origination fee should be added, right? So, plus origination fee and then minus di siya added. Okay, kay ang unearned interest income, i-deduct man na to. So, later na lang ni principal amount. Kanina lang sa origination fee, 350,000, and then we have direct origination cost of 61,500. Okay, so 'di ba makakuha taog unearned interest income? Okay, so naa na tay unearned interest income. So sa may treatment ani niya ron, i-deduct siya sa to ang principal amount. So natay principal amount na 4 million and then less na dayon unearned interest income of 288,500. So that would give us a carrying amount on January 1, 2016 amounting to 3,711,500. Okay, that would be letter B. Okay, so that is how you're going to compute for the initial measurement. Okay, kuha. So, the same sa itong notes receivable. Principal amount less unearned interest income equals initial measurement. Pero, ang pagkuha na lang sa unearned interest income, dira na lang siya nalahi. Okay, kaya sa notes receivable, diri na ito gikuha mo to ang interest income. Okay. Now, next, what is the interest income for 2016? Okay, so sa may measurement na sa interest income. So, class, in this case, we can use this table. So, actually, ang gipangayo lang na is 2016. But, for discussion purposes, ako na lang pong i-present ang succeeding years, no, which is the 5 years. Kaya para matuduan ta mo, saan ang table pag fill in. Okay, so you have the date. Okay? So, aside from the date class, natay interest received. Okay, interest received. And, natay interest income. Okay? And then, makompute na dayon na to ang amortization. And then, diri na dayon ang carrying amount. So, meaning, for this item, makuha na nato ang number 2 and number 3. Okay. So, I'm just going to wrap the text. Alright. So, date, diba, is January 1, 2016. No? And then, the first payment would be, a payment of interest would be December 31, 2016. So, take note ha, bantayin ninyo kung ang loan is, paan ba siya, installment or delay. So, in this case, ang bayaran ng installment is the interest, but the loan matures in 5 years. So, after 5 years, pabayaran ang principal amount. Okay. So, diba, on January 1, 2016, the carrying amount is the one that we have computed, which is the 3,711,500. So, class, unsay nakalahian ni sa ato ang notes receivable? As you can see, duha na inyong nakita niya interest. No? Na interest received and then na interest income. Unsa may kalahian ani nila? For the interest received class, this would pertain to our stated rate. Okay? Unsa man ang stated rate? So, tanan ko diri. Stated rate kay katong naka-state sa contract. Unsa may naka-state sa contract? Kani. No? Kung unsa gali ang bayaran ni customer, the interest rate in the loan is 10% payable annually. So, meaning, mao jud ni ang bayaran ni customer nga interest sa iyahang pagkahibalo. Okay? So, meaning, the stated rate in this case would be 10%. Now, for the interest income, lahi ang ato ang basis. Because, diba, in computing for the interest income, dili lang man kaning na-receive na to nga interest, ang atong i-consider as interest income. It would include the unearned interest income coming from the origination fee and direct origination cost. Diba? Mao gali ni reason, ganong gi-change na to siya sa 12%. And that is what we call the effective rate. So, in this case, the effective rate is 12%. So, take note, ang basis sa bayaran na sa customer nga interest will be the 10%. Kaya mao man na iyan hibawaan. Take note, kaning 12%, wala nakabalo si customer ana. Okay? Si company ray nakabalo ani para ang iyang pag-compute sa interest income, ma-appeal na ning sa origination fee less direct origination cost. So, ato-ato ani. Okay? Sa bank rin siya. No? 12%. Pero, ang bayaran sa customer again yung interest sa iyang pagkahibalo is only 10%. Pero ang ato ang i-recognize as interest income is 12%. Okay. So, how are we going to compute? Okay, so here, for the interest received class, siya mag-base. The interest received will be based on our principal amount. So, stated rate multiplied by the principal amount. Okay? So, do not be confused. Akala na siyang gibutangan og label. Stated rate, 10%. Principal amount, kaning 4 million. Okay? So, sa 4 million siya mag-base class. So, that would be 4 million multiplied by 10%. Ang effective rate, mag-base. Ang effective rate, mag-base siya sa tuang initial measurement. Okay? So, akong butang diri times the initial amount or initial measurement. So, that would be 3,711,500 multiplied by 12%. So, ano naman ma'am? No? Ano naman na yung mga paingan-ingahan niyo? Again, si borrower, wala siya nakabalo ng 12%. Wala po siya nakabalo nga kaniyang measurement nato sa iyahang loans. Ang iyahang naibawan lang, mangutang siya 4 million, mubayad siya og 10%. Mubayad siya og origination fee. Wala na siya ilabot kung unsay treatment nato sa origination fee. Basta, in the eyes of the customer, the amount of the loan is 4 million, the interest is 10%, so ang iyang bayarang interest would of course be based on the 4 million nga iyang naibawan. But on our part, take note substance over form magud na diri sa accounting. Okay, so that's why ato ang i-consider ni siya origination fee and direct origination cost to come up with the amount of 3,711,500. So, sa atong pananaw pod, as the entity, mao ni ang carrying amount sa ato ang loan. So, in computing for the interest income, that would be 12% multiplied by the carrying amount. Okay, so saan man ni siya? Take note, mas dako ang interest income kaysa sa receive. Diba? So, meaning, natay amortization nga 45,380. So, plus, lantaon na to diri sa ato ang rule, no? If the initial amount is less than the principal amount, then the amortization must be added to our present value. Sa present value na to, kaniha, mga neto present value. Pero, kung mas dako ang initial amount kaysa sa principal amount, then deducted. Pila ang principal amount plus? 4 million. Pila ang initial amount? 3,711. Kinsay mas dako? Or, unsay mas dako? Principal amount. So, mas dako ang principal amount kaysa sa initial measurement. So, direta sa first rule, that the amortization must be added. Alright. So, meaning, kaning 45,380, we are going to add this one to the present value as stated here in our formula or the initial carrying amount. Okay, so kanilang ang atong amortization, only the difference between the two. Okay. So class, basin maglibog ta no, hala, isa ganito ang rule, kung mas dako ang kuan, initial or principal, mas gamay, ano i-add ba to or minus? So here is my tip. This applies if the loan is to be paid lump sum. So, pareha ni in 5 years. So, class take note, na pag lump sum galing na siya, meaning after 5 years siya bayaran. Our goal here is that at the end of 5 years, ang atoan ng carrying amount sa ato ang loan would now be equal to the principal amount. So, meaning, di ba, 3,711,500. Ato ang goal, ani, is may mo siyang 4 million. So, if you're given this amortization and you're given this carrying amount, what are you going to do para may mo siyang 4 million? Di ba i-add na to? O, para, kay gusto mo na may mga 4 million, that is our goal. So, meaning, i-add na to ang amortization. So, makabalo na ka sa imong buhaton. Barang, wala ka naka-memorize. Ani nga rule. Okay? So, imo siyang i-add. Kaya naman times plus, nga, let's say, kani, initial amount is higher than the principal amount. So, let's say, if the initial amount here, what if the initial amount is 4,100,000 and the principal amount is 4 million? Di ba mas dako ang carrying amount? So, look at your goal. Our goal here is, may mo siyang 4 million at the end of 5 years. So, kaning 4,1, para may mo siyang 4 million at the end of 5 years, what are you going to do? You have to deduct. Okay, so, pareha ni, initial amount higher than principal amount, the amortization must be deducted. Okay, so you can use that sabi na siya, determinant, no, or sign para mahibawan ninyo whether it should be added or deducted. Okay. Okay, so that is for 2016. So as you can see, diba, na natay interest income for 2016, and that is 445,380, letter D. Okay, so kaniha, based on the initial measurement or initial amount multiplied by 12%. Now, how about for the succeeding years, class? Okay, for the succeeding years, December 31, 2017, so 5 years man, no? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So take note, di ba wala man nalahi ang atong principal amount? Always man siya 4 million. Okay, kano, after 5 years pa man ibayaran ng 4 million. So, always due siya 400,000. Kaniya nga to ang interest income, dili na siya always 445,380. Kung iyang basis, magdahilahi man. Magdahilahi man ang carrying amount every year. So, magdahilahi po niya siyang interest income. Therefore, how about for 2017? Pila man ang ato interest income? So, that would be 3,756,880 multiplied by 12%. Okay, and then you have there 450,826. So just get the difference. So you will get 50,826. So in that case, ato siyang idungag sa carrying amount. So nanatay new carrying amount. Next, 2018 na po, third year, 3807 times 12%. So you have there 456,925. So amortization, you have 56,925. So that is 3,807,706 plus 56,925. That is 3,864,430. Okay, so ang taon ninyo, nagkadako ito ang amortization. Kaya nga naman, nagkadako ba itong carrying amount? So, nagkadako itong interest income. So, that's why nagkadako ang ilahang difference. Okay, next for 2019, another na po. So, diba, pattern na siya. Dali na siya, hinumdumon. Okay, basta dili lang malimot, dali na hinumdumon. Okay, so 63,756. So, yan na po ninyo. 392,8386. Okay? Now, let us see ha if makuha ba dyan na to ang 4 million. If not, okay lang basta immaterial ang amount. So, 3928386 times 12%, you have 47146. So, how about if we're going to add this one? So, naa siya ay kulang 208, diba? So, in that case, class, gamay na kayo na siya. Pero dako gali na nga amount ang kulang, mali na dyan mo, ana. Pero gamay ra, o parehan niyo, 4 million minus 399,792. 208 na ng kulang. So, meaning, tungod lang dyan ni siya sa rounding off. Okay, kani mga 12% dere, actually, nani siya yung formula, no? But in this problem, given man. So, di na tamo dig-deep kung saan pagkuha ang formula ani unless kinahanglan siya sa problem. Okay. So, na siya yung formula, so di yun siya exact na 12%. So, di-round off naman na siya, that's why naatay differences. So, para makam up tag 4 million, just put there 4 million, and then, kanina lang dayon sila ang mo adjust, no? So, para mahimo na siyang 4 million, pila man dapat ang i-amortize? 4 million minus 3928386, dapat 71614 lang. So, how do we get the interest income? Diba? Interest received from plus the amortization. So, 400,000 plus 71614. So, our interest income for 2020 is 471614. Okay? So, kani siya, i-present lang ako ang table for the amortization for you to know how to do it. Okay. So, last question, what is the carrying amount of the loan receivable on December 31, 2016? That would be 3756880, and that is letter B. Okay? So, class, please do practice kung paunsa ni siya pagkuha because it would not be all the time nga ang ato ang answer makita lang diri sa mga first nga rows sa table. So, it could also be diri sa mga succeeding rows. So, practice ta nga, paspason siya. So, okay, so that would be for our first problem, the Apari Bank. Now, let's proceed to our second problem. Okay, so our second problem is Philippine Bank. So, the questions are, what is the carrying amount of the loan on January 1, 2016? So, initial measurement gihapon. What is the interest income for 2016? So, interest. Carrying amount on December 2016. Subsequent measurement. Interest income na po sa 2017. For discussion purposes, we are going to complete the table. Okay? So, i-complete na to siya kung mubo lang. O, pareha ni 3 years lang. Pero 10 years na gali, 20 years, din na to siya i-complete. And take note, kung sa inyuhang exam, let's say for example, diri lang tama na kinahanglan, so kaninang po ang inyuhang ipakita. Okay, so that is for you to save your time. So, no need to compute this kung dili na siya needed sa problem. Ako alam na siyang ipakita para ang mag-guidean mo kung saan siya pagbuhat. Okay, so this is number 2 and number 3. So, next would be the Philippine Bank. Okay, Philippine Bank granted a loan to a borrower on January 1, 2016. The interest on the loan is 8% payable annually starting December 31, 2016. The loan matures in 3 years on December 31, 2018. Okay, so same ra ang problem, no? After considering the origination fee charged to the borrower and the direct origination cost incurred, the effective rate of the loan is 6%. Okay. So, let us now solve. Ang first question class, initial measurement, same pa ani. Pero, ang succeeding questions, pwede na isa na lang siya ka-table. Okay, so first, carrying amount of the loan receivable on January 1, 2016. So, compute sa nato pila ang ato ang origination fee and direct origination cost para makuha na to ang unearned interest income. So, our origination fee is 100,000. Our direct origination cost is 260,300. So, class, look. Mas dako ang ato ang direct origination cost kaysa sa ato ang origination fee. So, therefore, transfer ka dira kay ang ato ang kwaon na karon is not the interest income, the unearned interest income, but the net direct origination cost. Okay, so ang net amount. So, net direct origination cost. So, pila man ang net amount niya? We have 160,300. So, class, take note, pag other interest income nakadidak, o kani kay direct origination cost man, di ba ang measurement would be fair value plus directly attributable cost. So, that would be transaction price plus the direct origination cost. So, ato ang i-add ang ato ang direct origination cost. Okay, so first, we have the principal amount, that is 3 million pesos. And then, plus the net direct origination cost. So, plus 160,300. So, we have now our, so may tawag na to, carrying amount. Okay, carrying amount on January 1, 2016, which is 3,160,300. So, class, natawag ninyo, mas dako na po karon ang atong initial measurement kaysa sa ato ang principal amount. So, nanan po na siya something to do with the treatment of our amortization. Okay? So, this is our answer for number 1, 3,160,300, and that is letter A. Now, let us proceed to number 2. What is the interest income for 2016? Actually, we can now answer number 2, 3, and 4 by just presenting one table. Okay? So, ato lang gyapon ni siyang ibutang. Para na lang gyapon mo yung guide. So, we have date, interest received, interest income, amortization, and carrying amount. In this problem, dili na siya 10% ha, but it is now 8%. And in the next problem, dili na siya 12%, but it is now 6%. Now, for the date, so I'm just gonna copy. We have 3 years now, so 1, 2, 3, so tama lang ni siya, 2018. So, pila to ato ang initial carrying amount as what we have computed in number 1, that is 3,160,300. So, how much is our interest received? For our interest received, it is computed by the principal amount times 8%. So, that would be 3 million times 8%. So, take note, since always man na siya 3 million times 8%, the same na siya sa succeeding years. Pero ang interest income, lahi siya per year. So, we have an effective rate of 6% multiplied by the initial amount. So, that would be 3,160,300 times 6%. And then you will get an interest income of 189,618. And in number 2, that is letter B. Okay, so I'm just gonna put here, number 2, 189,618. Now, how to compute the amortization? That would now be the difference. So, class, as you can see, mas dako na nga itong interest received, no? Kaysa sa itong interest income. So, look, our carrying amount is 3,160,300. So, atong goal, dapat at the end, may ko siyang 3 million. So, how are we going to make this one a 3 million? Ato ang i-deduct ang ato ang amortization. Okay, so ato alam na siyang tip-tip, no? Pero, if you're going to follow the standard, if the initial amount is higher, if the initial amount is higher than the principal amount, initial amount is 3,160,300, principal amount is 3 million, so higher ang initial amount. Therefore, the amortization is to be deducted. Okay, initial amount ha, the same lang na siya sa present value. Okay? So, it is to be deducted. So, ato ni siyang i-deduct. So, understandable siya, may deduct. Kaya dapat, at the end, makakuha tawag 3 million. So, 3,160,300 minus 5,382. So, you have this carrying amount. For the next question, what is the carrying amount of the loan on December 31, 2016? That is 3,109,918. Okay, so this is therefore number 2 and number 3. Okay, this is number 2 and number 3. Ano pa na siyang independent? Okay, now let's proceed to 2017. Since nangutan naman po ng interest income sa 2017, so that would be 3,109,918 times 6%. So, you have 186,595 and that is letter D. Okay, that is letter D. So for your amortization, still the difference, and then you deduct 3,109,918 minus 53,405. So you have 3,056,513. So class again, katawag yan pong i-follow ang ato ang procedure. So times 6%, dili siya mahimong exactly 3 million. Diba? Kay tungod sa rounding up. So let's say for example, kung kani, we will get this amount. So kung minus na to, okay, so kulang siya. O, balik 96 pesos. So, pwede siya din ani. Okay? Work back ta, 3 million dapat una. So, para may mo 3 million, dapat didakan siya o balik 50, balik 56, 513. So, therefore, dapat, ang atong interest income, take note ha, i-minus na po na to, kay mas gamay man dapat ang interest income in this case. So, lantaon ninyo ang pattern, no? Mas gamay man ang interest income. Ginihagi-add na to, kay mas dako man ang interest income kaysa sa interest received. Karon, i-minus na to siya. Kay, lantaon yung pattern, mas gamay ang interest income kaysa sa interest received. So, ito siyang i-deduct. Okay. So, mo yan dapat i-recognize sa 2018. So, class, take note of this. At ito sa rules na to, di ba? If there is an interest income, it would increase our interest income. So, lantawan ninyo. Di ba din na yung interest income sa Apari Bank? O, di ba ni-increase ang interest income? Imbis na na-receive is only 400, pero itong i-recognize is 445,380. But, if there is net direct origination cost, so ako na siya nandito mag-net diri, if there is net direct origination cost, then it would decrease our interest income. So, lantawan ninyo, kaning Philippine Bank na net direct origination cost, so ang na-receive good niya interest is 240, pero ang recognize lang nato nga income is 189,618. Okay, so that is how it is done. Okay, so for number 4, na-solve na nga to ang question. So, diba, just a short solution, you can now get all the answers that would be needed. So, it will be very important for you to master the table. Now, let's proceed to number 3. We have National Bank. Okay. The questions are, what is the initial carrying amount of the loan receivable on the part of the National Bank, initial measurement, and then what is the initial carrying amount of the loan payable on the part of ABO? Okay, so this includes loan payable daw. So, si National Bank ang nagpautang, si ABO ang nangutang, so unsaon daw pag-recognize nilang duha. Okay. So, National Bank granted a 10-year loan to ABO Company in the amount of 1,500,000 with a stated interest rate of 6%. Payments are due monthly and are computed to be 16,650. National Bank incurred 40,000 of direct loan origination costs and 20,000 of indirect loan origination costs. In addition, National Bank charged ABO Company a 4-point non-refundable loan origination fee. So, meaning this is 4% nga non-refundable origination fee. So, what is the initial carry amount of the loan receivable on the part of the National Bank? Okay, so kita si bank, so same treatment sa ito ang gibuhat sa ito ang previous problem. So, the initial carrying amount would be the principal amount, and then we just add the direct origination cost and then deduct the origination fee. So, class, just like this, pwede man nga dili na ingani, di ba taas pa ni siya, pwede na siya ingani. Let's say, principal amount of 3 million. Wait lang. Natin principal amount nga 3 million. So, pwede siya, ingani, direct origination cost, i-add origination fee, naka-deduct. So, naka-align na to ang carrying amount. Okay, so pwede rin nga na ha. So, no need to separate if pwede rin nga mausa siya. Okay, kani bang good ka gani ha. No, lahi bang good siya og treatment. No, so that's why giseparate. So, it's up to you how are you going to present your guideline. Okay, initial carry amount of the loan receivable. Take note, ang ato ang na-incur nga origination cost is 40,000. Okay, na ay direct, na ay indirect. Okay, so let's start with the principal amount. For the principal amount, we have 1,500,000. And then naatay direct origination cost. So, ako na lang i-copy paste ha. Direct origination cost amounting to, okay, so pila man yung origination cost? Natay direct, natay indirect. Take note sa ato ang standard, kitong kaganiha, ang direct lang, no? Transaction costs that are directly attributable. If ever na indirect or not directly attributable, just like here, the 20,000, it shall be expense outright. Okay, so expense na siya diretsyo, wala na siya inabot sa atong amortization, kanilang 40,000. So, you're going to add 40,000 pesos. Okay. Alright, so, kaniha, by the way, dire bitaw sa Apari Bank, so, pwede na siya yun. Principal amount of 4 million. Sige, tagbalik-balik dire, no? Makarealize mo later sa mga shortcut nga solution. So, principal amount, 4 million. So, you just put direct origination cost. I-add lang ninyo, 61,500. Origination fee, it will be deducted. Minus 350,000. Okay, so, same siya. Maghatag sa tuaog, 3,711,500. Okay, so, mas dali ni siya, no? Kay wala na. Isa na lang siya solution na. Hindi na siya tagsa-tagsa. Okay, so i-add na lang na itong direct origination cost and then minus origination fee. But if you really want to compute for the under interest income, so might as well separate that. Okay, so let's go back. Add direct origination cost and then deduct the origination fee. Pila na yung origination fee? Accordingly, National Bank charge abo a 4-point non-refundable loan origination fee. That means 4% of our principal amount of 1,500,000. Okay, so 1,500,000 times 4%, our origination fee is 60,000. So, take note class, origination fee, it will be deducted. Para sa ato ang kaganiha ba, atong shortcut na to, no? Nakadeduct ang origination. Naka-add ang direct origination cost. So, this will be deducted. So, therefore, how much is our initial carrying amount? Pwede na siya initial amount, para dili na siya taas. So, you have 1,480,000. That is letter D. Now, how about on the part of Abo? How would Abo company measure its loan payable? So, pabalita, no? Balita nga side. Data sa side sa borrower. So, of course, i-include na to ang principal amount. So, same thing class. Ato ang i-deduct ang origination fee. How about the direct origination cost? Take note, kinsay nag-incur aning direct origination cost? Si National Bank. Take note, kaning direct origination cost, dili ni siya between the National Bank and Abo. Dili ni siya between the bank and the borrower. Okay? Unlike sa origination fee, ang nagbayad ani si borrower, ang nakadawat si bank. Pero kaning direct origination cost, dili ni siya nagbayad si bank, si borrower ang nakadawat. No. Now, these are costs sa loan. So, pareha ito mag-evaluate sa iyang financial condition. So, dili ni siya direct ibayad dito sa, dili ni siya ibayad dito sa borrower. So, therefore, walay labot si borrower aning 40,000. And what he knew is na siya bayaran nga origination fee. And that origination fee would be deducted from its principal amount. Okay? So, class, I'm not used to the term initial amount, so I'm just gonna put initial carrying amount because it makes me awkward. Okay, so initial carrying amount, so origination fee, they will still be deducted. Therefore, our initial carrying amount is 1,440,000, and that is the rate. Okay? Alright. But it doesn't mean it would not mean nga 1,440 na lang dyan ang bayaran. Still, the 1,500. Okay? Still, the 1,500 ang bayaran. Of course, mo na yung carrying amount, principal amount sa ilang sabot. Mo dyan na yung bayaran. Pero, sa pag-account lang, sa accounting, yung record is 1,440 because just like the National Bank, kani po si Abo Company, po ni i-amortize ang 60,000. Pero di na tamo nila na because that is loan payable. Okay, by the way, sa inyong next sem, wala na yung loan payable. But the treatment, the same ra siya, whether loan receivable or loan payable. That's why, as you can see, nakadeduct yapon ang origination. Okay, so that is for number 2, that is letter A. Okay, so for the initial and subsequent measurement topics of loan receivable, I guess that would be all. For the remaining questions, this would be all about the impairment of loan, and I'll see you in the next video for the discussion of the impairment of loans receivable. Thank you for listening and watching the video, and have a good day.